Lenae, and you're tuned in to Christ Over Culture, your destination for faith, news, and pop culture. I'm so excited because we are in a magnificent space today. We have a very special guest. We have Mrs. Dru Robinson Perkins. She is the co-owner and CEO of Robinson Farms NxtGen, and we're sitting in the beautiful Elle Boutique Hotel. So, Dru, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. Now, Dru has taken care of us. We have been here for the last 24 hours. I brought a special guest along, my mother. And when I tell you, Dru, you just have such a wonderful spirit, a spirit of one, Christ first. I felt it as soon as I walked in. Family, hospitality. I just walked on the property and felt like I'm right at home. Yes. So I just want to thank you for the space that you have created and for treating us so well these last,
welcome.
It feels like days, but last day and a half. Thank you so much.
Yes, it was a pleasure to have you.
Well, tell us about your family history when it comes to farming. You are a third generation farmer. You have children who are the fourth generation.
Yes.
We are on a beautiful property, over 96 acres of farmland, event spaces, boutique hotel that we're in, and we'll get into that. But please share with us, how did this all begin with your family in farming?
Absolutely. So my grandfather, his name is Dru Robinson Sr., he was the first to move to this area and become a farmer, to purchase land in a small community called Pinhook, Missouri. And once he established himself there, he was farming with his sons. And so my father continued to farm and to purchase more land. And then after my dad retired from farming, they turned everything over to me and my siblings. And so we haven't had the pleasure of farming like my grandfather and my father farmed, because of a lot of situations with Black farmers, not just in Missouri, but all over the country, having difficulties with different entities coming after their properties, trying to, take their land. And so we were able to hold on to ours. And now that God has seen fit to join some other things together, we want to revitalize and go back to our roots and really pick up that farm thing and start moving it forward for our next generation.
Wow. I think that this is such a great point. We're in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, for everyone who's watching. And it's very important for people to know what's happening with farmers and Black farmers. Mm-hmm. So you shared a little bit with me last night about kind of where you all are in the process. But can you just share with our audience what's happening right now with farmers and Black farmers in the United States?
Right. Well, there's a lot of Black farmers who actually lobby on Capitol Hill for other Black farmers. And one of the things that happened in the last couple of years is that they set aside money for Black farmers for discriminating against Black farmers. And of course, some things happened and some of the money got retracted. But then they moved forward and they started sending out applications for different families. And so our family definitely sat down and we looked at our history and everything that had transpired. And so we made sure that we filled out our application, which was a grueling process to get through. And we submitted our application, and we are just believing that we are going to get the max, that God is really going to, bless and make sure that our generations are taken care of.
Yes. Is there anything that we can do as the general public to?
So I'm not for sure if there's something that the general public can do, because it's all set up through, all of the legalese. And sometimes when these programs are setting up, they have certain criteria that you have to adhere to or to be a part of. And this particular one, the way it's set up, they don't let you go back historically to granddad and dad. It's really about what transpired over the last 30 years while we've had ownership of the property. And so we have to backtrack to make sure those things are solidified and that we can get ourselves reestablished and get back to really farming, because we actually own about 200 acres that my dad and my mother actually left the 12 of us. And so that particular land is where we do a lot of corn and wheat and milo and those kind of things. And so this new property, while we are farming about 10 to 20 acres, the rest of it is really capacity for the hotel and the resort and for all of the excursions that we have, that people can enjoy when they come here on the property.
Wow, that's amazing. And I didn't know a Black farmer or farm family until I met you all.
I know.
So I think that this is great, just bringing awareness to the fact that there are Black farmers. I know that less than 2% of farmers in the United States are Black farmers.
Exactly.
So you all are truly an anomaly and have something
in a lot of ways.
special here. Yes. What type of crops do you all grow here on this property?
So here on the property, last year, for the last 2 years, we've been planting soybeans, and this year we're going to flip the crop, and we're actually going to be doing corn. So when I actually viewed the property for the first time, there was corn planted here as well, and so it was like driving through a maze. And so I love the fact that we get to do corn this year, so it'll help us kind of slide into some things that we want to do for some of the holidays and make sure that people can have some harvest fun.
Yeah, and when we came, we saw your brothers out mowing.
Oh, yes.
The lawn. It's truly a family business.
Right. So there's 12 of us. Like I said before, I have 9 brothers and 2 sisters that are my parents' children. And my brothers, Leonard specifically, is all things, manicuring on the property, and the brothers assist with that. So you're always going to see Leonard and Charles every weekend, and the other boys will come in as needed. But they are faithful. All of these work ethics that they learned from my dad, from being out on the farm. My brother Charles was, all of my brothers were free labor for my father. Having a farming business, and that is one of the reasons why my father was able to really prosper and pay off his land, because he did not have to have a lot of resources going out of the house, because he and my mother had enough children to provide, services and, hands to go to work at the farm. And so that is one of the things that, our brothers, when I see them outside, I can remember the days that me and my mom would take them lunch while they were out on the farm and farming with the tractors. And so it just reminds me of those times. And it makes me excited, because I'm like going, ooh, they're out there. And they enjoy it. They love, what they do. They love being back in their element. So I'm excited for them.
Wow, I love that. Everybody has a gift and talent, and you all celebrate that and utilize them in your business. Yeah. So let's get into the meat and potatoes.
Get into them potatoes.
So please tell us about how this property and this space came to be, the Elle Boutique Hotel, all the different venues. Walk us through it.
Okay, so actually, I must say this. There's 12 stories, right?
Okay.
Because there's 12 of us. So I can only tell my story and how I got here, and then I kind of drug the rest of them with me, but I'm pretty sure it happened. So we actually lost our dad in 2012. And as that process was happening and unfolding, it just came to me that we are the next generation. And what are we doing? And I thought about what my grandfather had done. My grandfather was very active in the community. He was responsible for starting an association called the Christian Liberty Association through Black Baptist churches in the Boot Hill. And what that association did was they purchased land so that you could rent land back out to Black farmers so that they could get their footing and their start in farming. And so I've always thought that he was ahead of his time. The association is still flourishing, but just to see something that he put together some odd 50 years ago, and see how it's impacted communities has been a blessing. And my father, same thing. He was a community man as well. He was going to feed you no matter what. So if you were hungry, you can eat from his garden. And so just thinking about those kind of things, I was really at a crossroads in my life where I felt like after my dad left, and I think now that I can honestly say that I was a daddy's girl, knowing that he had left, it shifted me, and I was crying out to God, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Because at this time, I'm an interior designer, but I also had a 9-to-5 doing configuration management. And so I'm in my office, and I am just crying out saying, what am I supposed to be doing? And God was like speaking through walls of concrete and said, you're going to open a hotel.
Wow.
And the only thing that I did in response was I leaned over because I was so shocked to hear the Lord speaking through this concrete. I was like, what in the world? I was like, if you say it one more time, then I'm going to know that it was you. He was like, yeah, you heard me the first time. And so I literally started typing, how do I open a hotel?
Wow.
And when he said you're going to open a hotel, he told me to tell everybody you're going to open a hotel. And I was like, tell everybody. I told my coworkers when they came in, I was like, the Lord told me this morning I'm opening a hotel. One of my coworkers laughed so hard that I got offended. I was like, what are you laughing about? He was like, you do know that that's crazy, right? And I was like, oh, okay. He said it's crazy.
It's only crazy till it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so in this process, I actually went through a 7-year journey where the Lord just was shifting me in different places, testing me in different areas, testing my heart posture, testing my patience, testing my endurance, where he would send me on assignments to tell people things that I would be like, what? Tell the people what? He had me tell 2 people that they were going to be pregnant. And both of these people had gone through miscarriages and fertility issues. I was like, really? And I do know why he told that particular assignment was because my mother was told that she could not bear children. She actually had 2 stillborn daughters before she had her living children. So between the age of 28 and 42, my mother had 12 children.
Wow. From stillborns, 2 stillborns to 12 children.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so
I've always held it close to my heart to say, okay, if my mama can have babies, then you can have a baby. So I would always speak that into women's lives when they were having fertility. I was like, surely if my mother can get 12 kids, you can get you 1. So let's talk about what that looks like. And so in those things, when I heard him say you're going to open a hotel, I didn't even blink. I didn't even think about it. So I'm just like, I'm off on this journey, right? And as soon as I had this conversation with my husband and my business partner, and we have this meeting with my daughter, and I tell everybody in the room, if you got a problem with the fact that I need $25 million to start this hotel, then you should leave this room.
Okay.
And then nobody got up and left the room. And I was like, okay, so where we get $25 million from? And I literally start pursuing it, right? Pursuing where it's going to be, what it would look like. Was I going to be a part of the Marriott? Was I going to be a part of the Kimptons? Because I love boutique hotels because I love what they provide, the closeness that you get to be with your customers, and you can be relational with them and then send them off, and then they enjoy everything that happened to them at that particular time. And so I love a boutique hotel, but none of these things, nothing kind of actually stood out. And so going through this journey, I ended up coming home during COVID. I actually quit my job.
You quit your job?
Yeah.
And at this time, you're living in Virginia.
Exactly.
So you were going to be coming home, not yet, but coming home to Missouri eventually.
I had no.
You didn't know. You had no desire?
No.
Oh, okay.
To me, everything was happening in Virginia because why? I live in Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
So my pursuit was Virginia. And at even one point, I talked to my sister and we were like, oh, we'll look in Texas. We'll look in these different places. But the Lord still had his own plan about how this was going to play out. So in 2021, I was led to in my contract, and I literally sat on the couch and did nothing. This was prior to COVID, so I quit my job in January. And so I'm on the couch eating bonbons. I'm baking apple turnovers. I'm like, yes.
Living your best life.
Right, because I'm like, I'm sure I'll get another contract somewhere sometime, so I may as well enjoy this, right?
Yes.
And so by the time March hit and COVID came, I still don't know what God is doing. And literally, he started to tell me, rest. Because we getting ready to move. I don't know we're getting ready to move, but he's like, rest. So I'm resting and I'm eating bonbons. And then in June, I come home for a friend's wedding. And then the Lord leads me to one of my classmates, her business. She owns a cabinet business, her and her husband, Buzz Farrell. And the Holy Spirit says, ask her if she know about any land between St. Louis and Memphis. My lips start moving. It's like you're having this out-of-body experience when the Holy Spirit is actually using you for his purpose.
Yeah.
And so I say to Shori, do you know of any land between? She says, I don't know nothing, but I know somebody who knows everything. And she calls this lady. She gets her on the phone, and she says, my friend is here. She wants to do this adventure. And I'm going, I do? Like,
That it is.
I really did not know what the Lord was up to at this particular time. And so after we're having this conversation, the lady says she didn't have time to talk to me at that particular time. I'm like, that's fine. I'm on my way back to St. Louis. Back to St. Louis to the airport to fly back to Virginia. And so I go back to my brother's house to get my luggage. We didn't even make it back to the house. And this lady calls and said, Sheree made this seem so important. I can come to you if we need to meet. And I was like, no, I'm on my way to the airport, so I can actually come to you. And so we ended up in her office. We sat down, we signed NDA forms, and I'm looking at my aunt and I go, why are we signing NDA forms? She said, I don't know. So we signed them. And then we just started to talk about, like, the only thing I had talked to my siblings about during COVID, we had got on this phone call and we talked about a marketplace. We wanted to make sure that we could keep our parents' spirit of farming and the traditional things that they love. We wanted to keep them alive. And so we wanted to do like a marketplace. I had seen this place that was a marketplace and I was like, I know this is something we can do. It's like a farmer's market with restaurants and bars, all in this huge, big space. And I was like, if we could do something like that, I said, right off the highway would be perfect, right? And so we go into her office and she's showing me different plots of land. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm looking at exactly because it all looks like dirt at this point. But I started to describe her. It should be 15 minutes off of 55. It should be, in a perfect location, things like that. And once I started to say things like that, she was like, I know of this place. It's been on and off the market for 10 years. She goes, I'm going to call the realtor and see if we can't get an opportunity to go out there. She calls the realtor and the realtor says they have 1 hour. If we can get out there in that hour, we'll be able to see the property. And so I was with my aunt, my ride or die Rose, who I call Lucy. She came with me. We hopped in this car and I was like, we had our mask on. I was like, Rose, we're going to catch COVID. We don't even know this person. What are we doing? And literally when we got on 55, she hits her stopwatch. And so we arrive at the property and we're like 16 minutes from the highway. And I was like, okay, it's perfect. So we drive up and it's a corn maze, right? The corn is planted, but what we see is the cottage and the red barn. And Rose and I really started going, we got a barn, we got a barn. And we're in there and we're dancing saying, we got a barn. And I'm like going, okay, we got a barn. We walk in, we're going through the cottage. We're like, this is going to be our general store, blah, blah, blah. So we're designers, right? So we're going all through. We don't even know how many acres it is. We didn't know nothing. So we thought this is all that it was and we were ready to go. The realtor says, we're going up the road some more and there's 2 more buildings on the property. Well, because we didn't even know to look for the Elle, we didn't pay attention to it. All we did was pay attention to the barn. So when we go inside the gray barn, which is now the 806, our men's lounge, we were so excited. It had dirt floors and it just looks like a barn. And I was like, oh, my brother's going to love this. They're going to be able to put their tractors in here. And we get ready to go to the next facility. And we look up. You've experienced it when you drive up and you see the Elle. It took my breath away to the point where when the gates started to open up and we crossed the gates, I thought I died.
Wow, it really does feel like you've been transported.
Because I had no expectations of that something is sitting here in the middle of Missouri and now I have access to it. And I look up and it's this beautiful, amazing colonial home. And we walk out and we come through the front door. I go to the formal dining room. Rose comes in here to the living area. And when I get to the dining room, Holy Spirit says, this is the beginning of the hotel. And I turn around and I look at Rose and I go, this is the beginning of the hotel. She's like, yes, Lucy, this is the beginning of the hotel. And I got on a plane and I flew back to Virginia. And I had no clue what I was supposed to do. I was like, Lord, why would you show me this place? Why would you show me this? What am I supposed to do with this place? Okay, I'm supposed to do something, right? Yeah. So I called my sister. I called Crystal and I said, you will not believe what the Lord dropped into my lap today. She was like, what is it? And I give her the address and she pulls it up. She says, ooh, tell me more. And I was like, I think this is the beginning of the hotel. She was like, what? She's like, okay, what are we doing? And I go, I don't know. What are we doing? Because I'm thinking to myself, this is not Virginia. Me and my sister both agreed that if we called my brother Larry, who is the overseer of my parents' estate, that if he caught the vision of what I was trying to say, that he would be all in. And he was like, you don't even have to tell me nothing. I already see the vision. And not only do I see the vision, don't be upset when other people don't see the vision the way you see the vision. And I was done. I was like, okay, what are we doing? He goes, I don't know, this your vision. What are we doing? You tell us. Okay, we're going to call Sharon. And so we called Sharon and we let her know that we were interested. And we went through this process. It was a roller coaster ride. We got to one point that we thought we were going to lose the property because we got into a bidding process. And my sister was like, we're going to put in our final bid. So if this is our final bid, then it's either going to be ours or it's not. And so once we put our final bid in, we got a call that somebody had overbidded us. And I was really distraught about it because I was like, God, why would you show me all of this and then this not be our property? And my daughter came into the room. She's like, Mom, what's the matter? And I literally used these words and I was like, I'm distraught. And she was like, I'm so sorry, because she was the same one that I brought into the conversation at the beginning. And she was like, I know that you have DNR Designs, your interior design business, and I'm so excited and proud of you. She goes, but this feels like something completely different. Like, this is really something big. And I was like, for her to say that, I was like, oh, you think so? So she was like really compassionate about the fact that, what I thought was going to be the hotel was not about to be. And so once we got through that process, my dad came to me in a dream while I was sleeping. And my father, who thinks about money as a tool and not something that he clung to or whatever, my dad would use it to help other people because he felt like it was a tool to be used to do that with. And so he said to me in my sleep, so you're going to lose this property over this amount of money?
Wow.
And baby, I sat up, and because I know my voice, I know my father's voice, and my siblings know my father's voice, I called my brother and I said, Daddy said we're going to lose this property over this amount of money. He goes, well, what amount of money is it? And I go, it's the same amount of money it was yesterday. He was like, well, tell the lady that we're going to up the ante. And I was like, I get on the phone and I make the phone call. And I said, yeah, we're going to up the ante. And she was like, if you can stay at this number, I'll make sure I get you this property. It was the longest 48 hours of my life. But then she came back and said, you guys are the proud owner of Robinson Farms NxtGen. And we were like, hurrah! And we came out and we literally signed the papers and everything. And so after we got through going through that process, then I sat down and we did a presentation and we talked about what this was look like and how many arms this would potentially have and what directions everything would kind of go in. And we talked about how, even though there's 12 of us coming together, we can't have 12 voices. We can only have one voice. And so we have to decide we have to choose the voice that we're going to allow to be the voice. And so happens my voice is the voice. And so I use the voice very discreetly. My brother tries to get me to use my voice. That sweet little voice you call everybody in. I'm like, what? What are you saying? Yeah, when you say, hi, honey. And I do, but I'm like,
it's so sweet. I know, you have called me, honey. I'm like,
I have 9 brothers. This is how, hi, honey. Yeah, can you come bring your truck and all your things? Yeah, I need to go shopping. I need to put like 10,000 things in the back of your truck. And my brother Michael is coming. He's going to have all the things ready. But once we got into the presentations and people brought into the process, we started to get on good footing. But at the same time, the Lord was constantly whispering things in my ear, like, there's 12 of y'all, but these are not your disciples. Don't try to control them. Like, I wasn't even controlling mine. He was like, let them be who they are. Let them show up so that they can learn and glean and, mature through this process like you have, because I've had 7 years to digest what the Lord said that I was going to be doing. They pretty much had 7 days.
Wow.
And so I told the Lord, okay, I said, we're doing this with the family. So I couldn't run off and be like, let's go do this on your own. Let's figure out all these things on my own. But that's not what it is, because if God wanted me to do it on my own, he could have very well made it happen in Virginia. He could have very well made it happen on my own. But when he told me that this was going to happen, he was like, I'm going to make this impact generation. And so I tell everybody, nobody is safe in this process. We all are going to have to shift. We all are going to have to change. We all are going to have to grow. We are all going to have growing pains. All of this is growing pains, and it's foundational for a reason, so that we'll have a good foundation.
Yeah.
Just like whatever my grandfather, whatever we're standing on that he built. And so we stick it out through the strife. We stick it out through the hard times. And it can get scary. But we trust, and we stick together.
Yeah, I mean, talk about generational wealth, right? Your grandfather to your father to you, and now your children and nieces and nephews.
Exactly.
How are they a part of the business? I mean, you named it Robinson Farms NxtGen.
Yes.
They're very much on your mind. I could tell when you're
they are. And so realizing that I thought we were the next gen. I thought NxtGen represented me because, I'm thinking, it's Robinson Farms. It doesn't look like what my grandfather did. It doesn't look like what my dad did. It's what we're doing. And Holy Spirit's like, no, it's really about the next generation and the next generation. They've been quite involved. I can speak to my kids specifically. I've always kept them in the loop. We always sit at the table and I brainstorm with them. I teach them how to think like an entrepreneur.
And they're adults.
They are adults. And a lot of my nieces and nephews, they're very hospitable. They grew up being hospitable. They understand these things, and now they have the technical background and they have the financial background to understand these things. So I see it being cultivated in them. Now I think it's my job to pull them into the circle and to start really discipling them in this process about what they need to do, where they need to get their heads at, and what they need to be doing to make this even bigger, because it has to grow bigger. Even when I'm gone, even when we're gone, it's going to be big.
It is going to be big. I know you have big plans for the space. I mean, just 2 years in and it's already magnificent and there's more to come.
Yes.
And Dru, what I love about you is that you are willing to give and pass the baton to the next generation.
Yes.
Sometimes not everyone's like that.
I know.
And the ones that we wish were don't always give that to us willingly and openly. It has to be forced. Especially, we've talked about, the community, the church, even your grandfather's role with the farmers. So the fact that you are like, let me disciple you, let me help you, let me show you the way.
That's exactly where I made the transition, was in church. When I saw the disparity of the older people not wanting to hand things down to the next generation and things like that. I was like, my prayer was, God, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I want to be the one training up the next generation. I got a lot that I want to do. So I want to be able to flip this over to you because I need to go do my next thing, right? And so I need to know that you are well. So any organization that I go in, anything like that, I don't take ownership of it. So the way to not take ownership of it is to make it's a partnership. Like, I'm partnering with you to do this, and we're going to build this foundation, and then I can walk away from it. And if I walk away from it, it still should be able to stand. I don't want to create anything that dies after I die.
Yeah.
And so in order for it to be something that continues on, I have to make sure that there's other people coming up behind me and that we are growing and cultivating other people behind us to take over.
Yes. So this space is just so serene. I'm curious, when someone comes to the Elle, what can they expect? That was my experience. But if they, pass by different hotels on the highway, why should they come here to Robinson Farm NxtGen and specifically stay at the Elle Boutique Hotel? What can they find and expect?
Yeah, so I think when they arrive at the Elle, what they're really going to feel from the time they really actually turn into the property, they're going to feel like they have just been transported to a place where you are going to feel relaxed. You are going to feel like you have one with nature, and you are really going to be able to unplug. And that's just on the drive in. When you actually see the Elle, you are going to be overwhelmed with the angelicness of when you cross the threshold of the gates, that you get to experience this property. And so we add to that our hospitality. We add to that the spirit of my mother, Elle, and her recipes and her food. We add to that my father's hospitality and how he loved to feed people when they came to our house. And for me, adding the beauty the elegance of my parents. Like my dad was that rustic farmer. And so being able to have a property that is rustic, and then my mother, who is that elegant piece, being able to marry and infuse who my parents were together on this property makes it mean so much to us, because it's just like continuing to keep them alive in this space. So they will be able to experience just the soul of the Robinsons, right, when they get here.
I love that. And there's the 806, which is the men's lounge. Mm-hmm. We have the Sunset Cottage, which is available on Airbnb. Mm-hmm. We have the Elle, which I believe can keep up to 30?
We actually sleep 20 here, and the Sunset Cottage, sleeps 8.
Okay.
So that's why we are really looking to expand so that we can have more people on the property.
And who is this perfect for? Who should come?
So we have a lot of things for everybody, but I think one of our main different demographics is young adults who really need to take the time to get some R&R and rest, and to come out and do some excursions, some ATV riding, some horseback riding, some fishing, and really just some beautiful picnics. You can come and you can do camping or glamping. That's our demographics. And we also look to the demographics of those people who need and love respite, that just needs some downtime, that just needs some relaxation. We are here for those people, corporate events, to be able to come and bring your groups together, to be able to plan, to be able to, this is a space and a property that lends to ideas, to really opening up your headspace. And then we just love the 50 and older crowd. They are some really good travelers. We have so much fun with them when they get here, because they're the ones who want to go to the garden. They're the ones who want to get dirty. They're the ones who want to experience their childhoods here. So they want to cook outside. They want to create cha-cha. They want to have, they want to create the tea cakes, right? And they want to make the pound cakes. And so we get to experience those things with them in the kitchen. And so I love being able to recreate their childhoods with them and to let them know that they can do these things as an adult now, because we're creating them right here at Robinson Farms.
I love that. And people can camp.
Yes, they can camp.
Dru, you make the best breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, you have truly treated us. So the fact that, people can even get in the kitchen and see the process, even participate and get their hands dirty, I think is just a wonderful thing. I think staying at the Elle has given me a different sense of what it's like to stay and to retreat and to resort and be a part of something, not just stay there, lay my head down in a hotel and leave. I've gotten a chance to, we've gotten a chance to get to know each other. I've gotten a chance to meet your other guests. It just feels like I'm a part of something bigger. Yes, family.
Yes.
And that I'm a part of something bigger. So,
well, you have been. You are family now.
Yes, we are family now. So what would you love for people to know as we wrap up this podcast that maybe we haven't covered yet? Anything that you would like to share about your life experiences?
I think one of the things that I would definitely like for people to know is that, first of all, that we're here, right? Yeah. That Robinson Farms is doing some amazing things through our family, and that the Elle is here, and that we want people to come support us. I think that what I've learned through my experiences is that we have to be who we want other people to be. And so I've always tried to maintain support and support other businesses, support other entrepreneurs, but we just need to find out how we can support each other. And so that's what I want people to know. I want people to come to support Robinson Farms so that we can continue creating this God gift that we have, and so that there's always provision in the house, and that there's always room for another one, because even though there was 12 of us, Ella always had room for one more.
Wow, I love that. And please, this is such the perfect place, I think, for church retreats, for small groups to have events and parties. I think about all the different women organizations that, they do a retreat and have like 5 to 10 folks or even 20 folks to come out and just have a weekend where you can get away and rest. And like you said, clear your mind out in the country, on the hillside, where you can really see God's green earth and get excited and inspired and creative. I think that definitely everything that you said, Dru, is spot on. The Elle is here. We have stayed. I will be back. It's been one of my best experiences. I woke up this morning like feeling refreshed. It's a Beauty and the Beast type of situation.
I know, right?
You just feel so energized and ready to go back out in the world and give to others. So thank you for what you created here.
You're so
welcome. Thank you for being such a shining light and example. I mean, your love, your grace, your humility with everything that you've been given is just truly an inspiration to us all.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
Of course. Well, let everybody know where they can book and find you.
So if you want to book us, you can go to Robinson Farms NxtGen CO. And you're going to find that's our website. You can go to our IG, that is Robinson Farms NxtGen. And you can also contact us off of our website on our phone number. And I'm pretty sure right now I'm picking up. So you call, I'm answering.
You got a direct line, okay?
Yes.
And I know
it's not going to always be like that, but right now I'm answering.
Yes, and I know you all have some exciting events coming up, and you host people.
We do. We have an event coming up in October. We're having a couples retreat out here. It's going to be a camp out. It is going to be amazing. We are going to start having barnyard summers where we will be having entertainment and food so that you guys can get a little taste of what's going on at Robinson Farms. So yeah, we want to start really driving people out to the property so they can just start enjoying us for the summer.
Okay, come out to the Elle. This is the place to be, y'all. I am so excited. Yes. She got the sweatshirt on. Well, it's been a joy and a pleasure, Dru. Thank you again for being on
Michelle.
the podcast, showing God's light and example. Look, share this with a friend and a friend and a friend. Bring your mom, your auntie, your cousin. Get a group together and come out to the Elle in Girardeau, Missouri. You will not regret it.
The show me state.
The show me state, okay? And they will show you the hospitality that's right here between St. Louis and Memphis. So wherever you are, if you're in the Midwest, the dirty South, okay? East Coast,
here.
West Coast, get here. Well, I'm Michelle Lenae. This has been the Christ Over Culture podcast. Make sure that you check out this podcast everywhere where you listen to podcasts. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.